Atheism, anti-theism, what's the difference and does it matter? Stay tuned. What's going on, folks? It's your boy Javier with the Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. I'm here to talk about all things religion, all things politics. So if you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. Holla at your boy. Stay tuned. All right, today we're going to be talking about atheism versus anti-theism. Is there a difference, and does the difference matter? Me personally, I'm an anti-theist. So we're going to get into that, and I'm going to explain why I'm an anti-theist, but I'm also, define what atheism is and what anti-theism is. I'm here on learnreligions.com, and this is where I'm getting my resources. This is by Austin Klein, and this was written in June 25th, 2019. So the atheism and anti-theism so often occur together at the same time and in the same person. It's understandable if many people fail to realize that they aren't the same. Making note of the difference is important. However, because not every atheist is anti-theist, and even those who aren't anti-theistic all the time. Atheism is simply the absence of belief in gods. Anti-theism is a conscious and deliberate opposition to theism. Many atheists are also anti-theists, but not all and not always. All right, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to give my little thoughts on that. So basically what it is saying is true. Atheism is like the lack of belief in God. And anti-theism is like a deliberate choice. It's like choosing, like, I am opposed to all theism, not just from the sake of I lack belief. Yes, an anti-theist lacks belief in a God, but he or she is also like, I reject all forms of religion, all forms of the thought of religion. Like, if there was a God, if I knew there was a God, I wouldn't worship that God. If I knew there was a God, I would oppose that God. I would be against that God because I don't like the idea, or I'm not willing to be a servant or a slave to a higher power. Now, I know some religious people out there say, well, you don't have a choice. You don't get that option. But in the mind of an anti-theist, it's more of whatever I'm able to do to oppose that theocracy or that theology, that's what I'm going to do. And no matter the consequences, I don't just go about my day and pretend like, well, I'm an atheist, you are a believer. You do you, I do me. Anti-theists are more like, no, we need to talk about this. Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? And they're going to try to convince you, hey, this ain't the way to go. Like, even if your God is real, why would you worship a God that did this and did that and did those things and said this and said that? So anti-theism is more of an activist, not necessarily in the same sense. Like, anti-theists don't have to be people that's in your face like, yo, stop believing in your God, or this is the reasons why your God don't exist. Anti-theist is more like, yo, I don't even want to talk about your God. It's a non-factor. It's a non-starter, and it doesn't matter what your God does. It doesn't matter where your God comes from. It doesn't matter what your history is. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't care for it. And, a lot of atheists is just like, I just don't believe. So it could be it's a different mindset, and it's a different approach on the idea of God. Let's see a little bit more of what this article is saying. And I'm going to put this in the link below so you can go check it out for yourself. Atheism and indifference. When defined broadly as simply the absence of belief in gods, atheism covers territory that isn't quite compatible with anti-theism. People who are indifferent to the existence of alleged gods are atheists because they don't believe in the existence of any gods. But at the same time, this indifference prevents them from being anti-theists as well. To a degree, this describes many, if not most, atheists because there are plenty of alleged gods that simply don't care about, and therefore, they also don't care enough to attack belief in such gods. That's kind of like what I was saying about, like, atheists can be like very passive, but, anti-theist is more like very direct. They have a strong mentality of what they think of religion and how much they oppose religion. Atheistic indifference towards not only theism but also religion is relatively common and would probably be standard if religious theists weren't so active in proselytizing and expecting privileges for themselves and their beliefs and their institutions. When defined narrowly as denying the existence of God, the compatibility between atheism and anti-theism may appear more likely. If a person cares enough to deny that God exists, then perhaps they care enough to attack beliefs in gods as well. But not always. Lots of people would deny that elves or fairies exist, but how many of them, those same people, also attack belief in such creatures? If we want to limit ourselves to just religious context, we can say the same about angels. There are far more people who reject angels than who reject gods. But how many non-believers in angels attack the belief in angels? How many angelists are also anti-angelist? Of course, we also don't have people proselytizing on belief of elves, fairies, or angels very much, and we certainly don't have believers arguing that they and their beliefs should be privileged very much. It's thus only to be expected that most of those who deny the existence of such beings are also relatively indifferent towards those who do believe. Okay, so, it's basically summed up. I basically summed it up. It's basically the simple fact is this. Atheism just is the lack of belief of God. An anti-theist is also an atheist. An anti-theist just has a different approach to religion than what you would consider an atheist. Anti-theists take it a step further, and they actually oppose those religions. It's not just a lacking of belief, but they actually pursue to oppose those things, at least mentally or sometimes verbally to other people. And it's not just like, you do you, I do me type mentality. So I'm an anti-theist. I'm very opposed to the idea of religion. I'm very opposed to the idea of a higher being who controls or dictates the universe and tells me, what I can eat, drink, who I can sleep with. I'm very opposed to the idea that any higher being would create us and give us the power to make decisions on our own and then therefore restrict us from doing those certain things. And also, if this being is higher than everything, if he's all powerful, all knowing, then why not just put people in heaven and hell? Because you already know what's going to happen. You already seen it. You've seen it an unlimited amount of times for eternity. You know the outcome. So why not just go ahead and punish and reward people without going through this whole process of them actually having to commit the crimes? It's more like Total Recall type deal. It's more, not Total Recall, but it's more of like Minority Report. Because Minority Report is like, oh, we see what you're going to do, so we're going to lock you up before you do it. So, if God already knows you're going to do it, and it's not like you have the possibility to not do it or do it. It's more of God knows what you're going to do. So why not go ahead and punish you, and why not go ahead and reward you and skip this whole process? Now, I'm pretty sure there's an argument out there to be had. I'm not really getting into the whole arguments. It's just saying that anti-theist is more like, yo, miss me with it. I don't want to hear about it. You shouldn't be pushing that on your kids. You shouldn't be pushing that on society because, for one, it's a faith thing. You don't have any real solid evidence that your God exists and your God actually want the thing that you say they want. So even if your God is real, explain evil, explain suffering, explain all these things, and he or she has to answer for that. Now, there's going to be arguments about, why you shouldn't question God and why God works in mysterious ways. Yes, of course. But I'm just telling you how anti-theists see it. Anti-theists is more like, yo, I don't want nothing to do with it. Whether it's true or not, even if I know it's true, I'm going to buck it. I'm going to rebel against it because I'm going to use every power and ability that I have to be my independent own thinker and not to be subjugated under a higher power. So atheism, like, you can meet atheists all the time that you won't even know that's atheist. So that's something you have to address and deal with also. So pretty much, I'll be making more videos about atheism, making more videos about religion, making more videos about politics. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you like this video, make sure you share it to all your friends and family. If you learned something, come back and see me. You came, you heard, you saw. Now run and tell them I said it. And if they ask me by name, make sure you say it twice. This is the Javier Show.